You heard that right, dear viewer. Yes, you are doing Minecraft YouTube RP wrong. And you might be thinking, me? I'm doing Minecraft YouTube RP wrong? How could I be doing Minecraft YouTube RP wrong? I'm not even doing Minecraft YouTube RP. And exactly. If you're not doing it, you're doing it wrong. Do more Minecraft YouTube RP. We need more Minecraft YouTube RP. I don't care how much Minecraft YouTube RP we have. We need more. But if you are doing Minecraft YouTube RP, this is how you're doing it wrong. Okay, well, that may be an over-exaggeration. You're not doing it wrong per se, but I feel like people are not utilizing Minecraft to its best ability. And I will explain why, and I will explain how. And my expertise comes from being in these trenches for so long. I have been here since AFMO. I have been here since that one Stampy series where he goes to another dimension and he has to get these MacGuffins before the bad guys do, and he's like being chased. I don't know if anyone else remembers what I'm talking about, but it happened and it was real. And there was like an educational part of the series, where the characters of the series would explain like elementary grade topics like the solar system, and it wasn't like canon, but that was a thing that also like he also made videos with these characters doing that. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Am I crazy? I know it exists. I don't have proof of it. I just have the vague memories of childhood, but please, if someone knows what I'm talking about, please help me out here. Anyway, yeah, I've been in these trenches a while, and while I do not have any expertise actually being in Minecraft YouTube RP, I have been playing D&D for a while, so I have general RP tips, but also as just a consumer of this type of content for a majority of my life, I have a perspective that I would like to share. If you feel like this perspective isn't valid, you are free to click off this video right now. You don't have to watch any more of it. I don't know why I'm instructing you. You have free will. And at first, I will describe the why Minecraft YouTube is such an interesting medium, and like what it is that makes it so so good for lore SMPs, or like just lore, or just like storytelling in general. And then I'll get into how you can start to utilize it for your own benefit. The why. Why is Minecraft YouTube such a good medium? First up, I want to point out the versatility. Minecraft YouTube can be used for telling so many different kind of stories, both in like the particular way with like lore SMPs where everything is mainly improv with some kind of overarching story, or lore SMPs like the Dream SMP where everything was just improv and they had like points they wanted to hit, but it wasn't the same as Power SMPs, because Power SMPs and Flight SMP, they have an overarching story. Flight SMPs are a lot more immersive than Powers normally are, but okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Like, there's different kinds of lore SMPs even with that, like, heading. There's scripted SMPs, like Unstable, which again falls into a different kind of category than scripted SMPs with no scripted stories, like White Pine. Like, all these different genres, like Western, vampire, horror, whatever White Pine is. And then it's able to capture so many different kind of stories just through the medium of it being a sandbox and allowing creators to do so many different things. Like, I think White Pine is a really good example of like how you can use Minecraft to tell stories in a way that like extends past Minecraft. I think Minecraft being a sandbox, allowing people to build their own sets for basically for free, for the cost of what Minecraft is and the time it takes, and for being being really easy to mod to add whatever kind of effects you're after. It makes it really easy to tell stories with, like, if you want dragons, you can just code that into Minecraft. If you want to explore like if you want to do vampires, you can code in that into Minecraft. If you want to do like farming, there's a mod for that. Like, Minecraft is like a blank slate essentially that allows you to project your ideas on top of it, which make it really good for storytelling purposes, because you can make it your own, basically, right? That's like why people like TTRPGs so much, especially like homebrew. You can just you can adapt it to whatever story you're trying to tell. Number two is the simplicity. Like, Minecraft as a medium is very simple. You have blocks, your characters are made of blocks, you fight monsters, you eat food, you exist in a world. But that's not really what I mean by simplicity. I mean the way characters can show character information. Like, there's no facial expressions unless you want to like painstakingly edit that in, like they do in like Owen has done for his vampire series. Or there's no people aren't really using body language the same way you would use it in real life. You're not using eye contact the same way you would in real life, because that's not really, you're not staring into someone else's eyes when you're recording this, right? You don't have facial expressions. I already mentioned that, but like this simplicity allows fandom to exist by being able to turn this simplicity into something beautiful. That's why you see so many like amazing recreations of like blocky moments into fan art, so people can actually Like, they can put their own interpretation to a scene because there is no, like, because the canon is so simplistic. Because Owen biting legs is such a simple moment shown on screen. It's just him standing next to him and siphoning blood. But then you can turn that into a masterful art piece because you can basically create what each character looks like. You can create the poses they were doing. You can create where he was biting. It also allows for fanfiction. You can create, like, okay, I'll actually talk about that later. Like, fan art is able to be created of these characters because you can interpret their skins however you like. You can interpret their characters however you want to, which interpretation like this kind of creativity that comes from not having a canon design or having a canon look to how an interaction goes allows for this like creative interpretation that really drives fandom, you know? Thirdly, there's also it is one of the very few mediums that allows for now this is only really for lore slash improv based SMPs and not really for scripted SMPs or for scripted stories like White Pine, but it is one of the only mediums that allow for viewer interaction and viewer participation and for viewers to be able to change the course of the story. I think if you look even back to the Dream SMP, a bunch of decisions were made based off polls of the fans, and I think some of them were definitely rigged. Like the election was definitely rigged to tell the story they were trying to tell, but it still gave fans like a feeling of choice, like what if we as a fandom just decided the other option? Like it gives room for these like different interpretations that spawn fan fiction. It gives you so easily what if AUs, you know? And it like we might not have gotten that Martin scene if someone didn't draw fan art of Appo dragging Martin back as a bat, like the Martin dying from blood. I think that was canon anyway, but like that person's fan art of Appo dragging Martin back as a bat that like actually impacted the story. Like Appo made that canon, and then you had people commenting they weren't sure how Appo was able to drag Martin back. Like you had this one fan creation actually inspire lore, and I'm sure this is not the first time it's happened. I'm sure it's happened throughout, and that's you're not really allowed to do that for other medium because the label can be sued, you know, for taking a fan's ideas if the fan decides, hey, that's my idea actually, and I want like copyright, like. But no one in the Minecraft YouTube fandom is going to do that for their creators, right? Like, I mean, maybe we'll have some crazy case down the line of where that happens, but it's like people create their ideas for how they think things happen because they don't have an explicit explanation, and then when a creator is like, actually this happened because of some fan art I saw and I was inspired by, that's so fun. It's like it engages the fandom to create and to come up with their own interpretation of things, so maybe it can be canon, or even if it's not canon, it can just exist as an interpretation of what happened. It really drives up fandom engagement. I think no other medium can really do that except for Minecraft SMPs. And again, fourth point, which is very specific to Minecraft SMPs. I don't know if it's fourth or fifth, but the next point that is also very specific to Minecraft lore SMPs, either streamed or not streamed, but it doesn't apply for scripted or unscripted. Sorry, for scripted SMPs or scripted stories, but it's made of multiple POVs. Like even like Unstable, which is like the main thing that comes to mind when I think of a scripted SMP, or even the Dream SMP, which latter half was very heavily scripted, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% certain. Everyone's allowed to construct their own way of how the story goes, depending on who their main POV is, you know? And I think this is something that you can really see with the Dream SMP, with how like not easy it is to watch everyone's videos. People's ideas of canon and of how the story goes is so shaped by who they watched specifically, right? Like you could watch Tommy's POV and get a very warped view, or you could watch Wilbur's POV and have a very different view, or you could I guess Dream and have a POV. You could watch like Nikki's POV and get a completely different view. And even if you watch Tommy and Will's POV, both you get a different POV than if you just watch Tommy's. Like each character is able to tell their own story, and it's not like having multiple POVs in a book. It's like having multiple books in a series where you don't have to read all of them to fully understand what's going on. You can just read some of them, and that forever shapes how you view the story. Like you can even see it in Vampire Sesame with Scott's POV being like his actions and being a vampire is much different from Owen's POV of being a vampire and whatever, you know? Like it allows for literally every character to be an unreliable narrator in their own story, and for that to be contradicted by other unreliable narrators, and you just get to decide what's true. And I love that. I think that's so fun. I think I can't explain why, but it makes me feel so giddy inside. It makes me enjoy being in a fandom where nothing, you don't know, like, everything is up for interpretation, and you don't know how much of what you know is true because you've only watched one or two POVs. And whereas maybe if someone who has watched all POVs, maybe they have a different vibe. Like, you'll be able to catch moments in other people's videos that they cut out of their videos, but are still included in other people's videos, which shows you how the creator wants the character to come across. That's really only specific to YouTube-based SMPs, like the editing stuff. But for streaming, like, it's still, you get to watch different POVs. If you watch Scott's POV for Flight SMP, you get a very different vibe from everything that's going on if you watch Gracie's POV. Like, celestial metals are getting put through the horrors, and like Scott is mostly like, he's having a lot of personal issues. He's not dealing with the wider world issues as a whole, you know? Except, like, he is in covering things. I'm not trying to diminish Scott. Like, if you watch Maddie's POV as well, you'll see a completely different side of the academy than the rest of than again Celestial Metals or even Scott's POV, right? Like, you get so many different views of what's going on by watching different creators, and it also drives up fandom engagement by making like updates account and people keeping track of people's stories. Like, the only reason I'm up to date with what's going on in Flight SMP, because the two streamers I watch, Maddie and Scott, don't stream so frequently on Flight. The only reason I'm caught up to what's going on is because of people who live vlog it to Tumblr or post about it on Tumblr or post about it on Twitter or the Flight SMP updates account on Twitter. It makes people, like, also even there's a couple Tumblr accounts for sharing headcanons, and there's one that's really great. I think it's the Flight info share, where you just get to share information about characters so people can know more about characters that they don't necessarily have the time to watch. And I think that's so good for fandom engagement. Like, having having people need to engage in fandoms to fully understand the story from all perspective that's beautiful. Like, that's how content should be made. And I need more content to be made like this. I need mainstream to understand that they need to give me multiple POVs, but like as different shows. Like, they can't have one show with showing different people's POVs. They need different shows to show different people's POVs regarding specific events. And I would go crazy for it. But mainstream isn't catching up to this thing that's been so popular for Minecraft SMP since like 2020. I'm gonna say 2026, but that's this year. I think those are my main points. And then one last point that is a bit confusing for me to even like verbalize, but Minecraft SMPs are bad. And I don't mean them in they suck. Like, I think you can tell from my voice how much passion I actually have for Minecraft SMPs. Like, I love Minecraft SMPs. I can't watch anything else but Minecraft SMPs and feel joy. That's not true. I watch D&D a lot, and that also brings me joy, but not as much as Minecraft YouTube and Minecraft SMPs and Minecraft RP SMPs and lore SMPs and the Flat SMP and Vampires and the Gym SMP, even though it's been years. They bring me so much joy, you know? But I also acknowledge that very, very few of the people who are doing this have ever been trained in acting. They don't know how to. There's some who have like D&D experience, but even then, I'm not saying the creators are bad actors. Not at all. I think some creators are actually really, really good. However, I think a lot of times they fall into pitfalls that would not happen if they had like proper acting experience. But you're not going to get like a novice actor on like a film set and on a movie or stuff, because that stuff is expensive. But this is free to watch, so you don't mind that quality isn't great, right? You don't mind that sometimes there are plot holes and inconveniences and backstories that aren't properly fleshed out, or stuff that doesn't quite make sense. So that's something I think is really great about the Minecraft YouTube sphere. Like, things not being clear, I think it's great. Like, I've even seen with the TDC finale, people hate when things aren't cleared up. Even I wish some things were cleared up. Minecraft SMPs, I love when things are unclear, because it lets people theorize and write fan fiction and create fan art and their own interpretations of what things could be, right? Like, I think that's necessary for people to be able to make fan content, which drives fandom, is for them to not know what's going on 100% of the times. Like, you get so many different interpretations of different Dream SMP characters' backstories and relations to each other, and all these different moments that were kind of out of lore but transferred into lore, which affected characterization going forward, or people's interpretation of the character. And it's such a thing that's so specific, at least in my experience, to Minecraft SMPs that are not really shown anywhere else. Like, I love Scott Borealis, and I think Smager is a very good RPer. He has been doing it for a while. However, I need him to make that man angry. I'm tired of this forgive and forget. I'm tired of this this angsty, guilt, sad boy, or even like not guilt. He doesn't feel guilt according to himself. But I need more characters where their primary emotion is just not guilt or sadness. I need people to be angry, and I need people to not care. So I need more AJs. That's what I'm saying. I need more Flight SMP AJs, and I need more of them to exist, and I need them right now. Because don't get me wrong, I love Celestial Metals. Tracy, Legs, and Zam are kind of just the same character in 3 different fonts. And there are definitely character differences, don't get me wrong, but they're all kind of like this. A lot of people on this SMP are that like self-sacrificial, kind, nice character. Like, I just need less of that. Like, I love Maddie coming out of that jail and being suspicious. Like, her main thing isn't like it's just being suspicious of everyone and everything and not being able to trust anyone. And I like that. I like that so much. I need more characters to feel different emotions. I feel like this is a very contentious point, but I need Scott Borealis to be more angry. Please and thank you. And I made a Tumblr post about this. So if that sentiment seems familiar, it's because it's me. You're welcome. But yeah, like, these people are not professionally trained, which you will not really see in any other kind of media. You won't really see people not like having like not as much expertise. And I really love what some people are doing with their characters. I think it's very unique. Like, I love Molly Mellings. I love her character. I love her so much, and I need more. I need more of her. And I need more characters like AJ, and I need more characters like Maddie, and I need more of it. You know? This is a point I even find really hard to like verbalize, because I don't even know what I'm trying to say, you know? But I hope I was able to get my point across. If I was not, maybe one day I will be, but it's like such a confusing point for me. I don't know. But yeah, moving on to how you can utilize these aspects to actually properly do Minecraft YouTube RP better. So how do you make how are you doing Minecraft YouTube wrong, and how can you make it better by properly utilizing the aspects of what I just previously mentioned? Do I remember what I previously mentioned? Not completely, but this is basically how I think you can properly utilize aspects. The versatility. Just tell more stories. Tell more and different stories. Tell stories about stuff going on in your real life. Tell completely made up stories. Tell any genre of story you want to tell. Tell any kind of thing you want to tell. Use Minecraft however you want to use it. If you want to play in a like built up lore SMP with an overarching story, do that. If you want to play just on a survival world and you make lore yourself, do that. If you want to play on a traffic series, life series type of world where you make lore that way, do that. Just make more stories. To utilize the versatility, just make more different kinds of stories. What next? I think I mentioned simplicity. Right. Don't give a canon design. You can. You can have a canon design. You can have ideas for how you want your story to go. You can have all this stuff. I do think when you have a canon design, it takes away from the fan interpretations of it. And that is up to you if you want that. If you want everyone to draw your character a specific way, give a canon design. If you want characters to take your little Blowbo and make him in any shape or form they want, don't give a character design. Don't give a canon design. Allow people to use their creativity and their interpretation to properly explode, to properly flesh out what your character looks like. You know, you can have one. You can have a character. You can have a fleshed out character design all you want. But what I'm saying is just don't post it. If you like, you will still get a level of interpretation even if you do post it. But I just think to get the level of interpretation you see when people take blob skins and make them into gorgeous men, it's because of the interpretation and the ability to project whatever they want onto that skin. You know. And then this also goes for like the other point I mentioned about ambiguity. I don't know if I made that a separate point or not, but leave your backstory ambiguous. Leave certain actions or motivations unclear. Lie more. Make your character a dirty little liar. Okay, stepping back. That's I'm being facetious. That's not the right word, but I'm being like hyperbolic. Make your character like you don't have to explain every action. Leaving actions, and you don't have to explain why you did you don't have to explain why you did something. You don't have to explain your character motivation to the audience. Having a motivation and having a reason for yourself for why your character did something, good. That's good. Like, it helps you create like a character that is consistent, right? But not always explaining to the audience why you have done stuff leaves room for them to interpret their actions and for them to imagine what in your backstory could have made you act like that, or what in the present could have made you act like that. Like, if you leave your backstory kind of like ambiguous, people can make up their own shit and add that into whatever they want, you know? Like, I think that makes for much more interesting stories in my personal experience. Like, watching the Dreamers MP, people are able to run with the relations and characters and on all manners of whatnot, because not like canon wasn't specifically stated. Like, it's not specifically stated that Tommy is canonically 16. Like, because from some characters' POVs, they thought Tommy was canonically an adult, or they thought Tommy was canonically 16, or they thought, or sometimes he's canonically young. Like, I see people talking about canon ages in the Dreamers MP, and I want to grab them by the shoulders and shake them and say, there is no canon. The Dreamers MP is whatever you want it to be, because none of those characters matter anymore, right? But that's a separate issue. What I'm just saying is, the more room you leave for people not to understand why your character has done certain actions, it lets them come up with their own reasoning. And I think that is really important for fanfiction. I think if, for example, Scott just killed the shadow people and didn't explain why he wasn't having that big of a reaction to it, people would be able to come up with all kinds of like explanation stuff. But Scott did give an explanation. He had to do this when he was younger, and he does not want to hesitate anymore, right? That valid reason. Maybe don't be so okay with killing people, but again, it is a fantasy world, and it's, yeah, whatever. Moving on from that. I think if he left it open, I think there would be a lot more room for interpretation of that idea, right? Of his motivations for being so okay with killing people. Like, I think that makes a really interesting character. Like, I think people could interpret, oh, maybe where he grew up in Tegrith, it was kind of normal to execute people or kill people who had done something wrong or something bad or something like that. And even, like, think about how your character interacts with lives when they know death is not permanent until you have died 3 times. Think about your character not knowing if another character has died before or not. How would they interact with causing the death of another character? How would they interact with being killed by another character? I think these are, especially in stories that have multiple lives, like the Dreamers SMP, like Flight SMP, like POW, where death really isn't a thing. I think all these are like important questions to ask about your character, you know? Sorry, I think I got a bit sidetracked from actually talking about ambiguity there, but we ignore that. The next point, I think I mentioned, like, utilizing your audience and being able to do that. What do I mean by this? Use your chat. Make chat canonical. Like, we already see sometimes chat is acknowledged to have a physical presence in the universe. Do more Technoblade shit. Let your characters be able to hear voices of people. And maybe it's not all of them. Maybe they can only hear specific messages, you know? So that you don't have to have your character completely changed by being able to be omnipotent almost. But if you like I think a lot of streamers do not like to make their chat canonical because they don't want they don't want their chat to be able to spoil stuff for their character, so the character would not be able to know out of character stuff in character. However, I think the way you fix this is by not acknowledging stuff said by chat that is irrelevant to the character. I think you allow your chat to speculate with you, and you like tell them, hey, if you are bringing in information from other people's streams, that's not welcome here, and I will not be acknowledging that message. I think that's a cool way to make it work. Have your character have like some kind of have your character hear whispers sometimes, or maybe they go to a certain place and they can hear chat. I think people need to be utilizing their chats more, and I think people need to be using polls to decide characters' actions more, so that people I already mentioned how this is again only if you do stream. If you do YouTube content, I'll have some different advice for you. Like, maybe comments, it doesn't work in the same way. So again, some of my advice is for stream, some is for YouTube, and I'm really sorry I can't make advice work for both. I guess polls can work for if you end the video on a cliffhanger and then you poll your chat on what to do next, you know? But yeah, having your chat engage with the narrative and engage with your character. I think most streamers need to be doing that because it gets people involved. It gets people talking about. It gets people. I think it allows for a lot more what ifs, and I think it makes your chat more interested in the story if they get some kind of control on it. You know, I don't know if I'm making sense, but I like the Dreamers MP. Most people acknowledge their chat to certain settings. Techno was full out on the peer pressure and stuff like that. Have I think we need more stuff like that in because I haven't really seen it since the Dream SMP, and maybe it's just not the SMPs I'm watching, but I need more stuff like that. And then I think the ambiguity part, not ambiguity, make things worse. I've already kind of expanded on with the ambiguity is what I mean. It doesn't need to be worse. It just needs to be vague. Be less forthcoming with everything about your character. And I know you want to. I know you want to. Allowing the audience to come up with their own character reasonings is like 90% of the fun, and it needs to be done more. I don't need an explanation for everything about how a character works. Maybe after the story has ended, you can come forth with this kind of stuff, but otherwise, I think you leave it up for air. Like, I think if your character is a liar and a trickster, I don't think you should have to explain. I think everything they should say should, I don't know. I'm kind of speaking out of my ass right now, but I just think allow room for interpretation. Like my tips summarize to this: allow room for interpretation, allow things to be vague and not clarified, engage your chat in the story, make them a part of it, make them be able to decide actions taken by characters. Because then a really also fun part for you is you get to decide how your character came to the action. Like give them choices between two things your character would do, and then have them select which one it does, which again opens the world for people to like, okay, what if the character did the other option now? Like it really allows for interpretation, which I keep saying that word a lot. So take a shot for every time I've said interpretation. But yeah, let's move to the conclusion. Minecraft YouTube is an amazing medium for telling stories. I hope I've explained why I think it is so good. If you have noticed other things that make Minecraft so unique and such a like interesting medium for storytelling, that it's been like so many people invested in the Dream SMP, and I have to believe that a part of it is due to the fact it uses Minecraft as a medium, and the fact that so many stories are using Minecraft as a medium gives me some credibility to this theory. Minecraft has something going on for it. But if you've noticed anything that helps corroborate this theory, please let me know in the comments down below. And the way to be improving your Minecraft YouTube RP is by you properly utilizing what makes Minecraft so unique as a medium. My tips, I say in quotation marks, have only covered a very small range of what actually makes this medium so fascinating and how you can properly use that. So find your own. Find ways that you find Minecraft YouTube interesting, and find ways how you can use that in your own videos or in your own RP. And you don't even have to record RP. You can just do it. You can just grab a bunch of friends and force them to RP with you. Because that's what D&D is. But instead of a TTRPG, you have Minecraft. And I think that's beautiful. And I need more people to just do RP. It doesn't have to be recorded. It doesn't have to be anything serious. Just do RP. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and tune in next month to watch another one. Maybe I'll actually be doing Minecraft this time. Who knows? Anything is possible.